Hey, I just want to do a quick video. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and that was kind of funny to me. We were talking about travel, and he was saying he took a train. Um, I don't remember where he took it. Anyway, he took the train. He asked me, "Have you ever taken the train before, like the Amtrak?" I said, "No, I've never taken the train, but I've taken the Greyhound bus." And he said, "What? You've taken the Greyhound bus? That's awful," type of thing. I was like, I don't know. We didn't know any different, And he said, "When did you take that?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know. The last time I took it, I was probably 12, 13, something like that. Maybe 14. And he's like, "What? When you took the Greyhound bus, like with your family?" I said, No. I took it from here to Arizona, where my father lives. My family's down there." And he said, "Wait, you took the Greyhound bus from here to Arizona by yourself as a kid?" I said, "Oh yeah, I did it all the time. I took my sister too, and she was probably 11, 10. Yeah, there was probably a point where she was probably 9, maybe that young. And her and I would take it down there to go visit my father." And he lost his ever-loving mind. He's like, "Wait, your parents put you on a Greyhound bus? Your parents put you on a Greyhound bus to travel to other states to go see somebody else?" I said, "Yes." And he was a bit of a younger guy. And I said, "And get this, there was no communication between here and there. There were no cell phones. There was no texting. Our parents had no idea where in the Southwest we might be. So they give you you can, shit, this was before the internet. So you couldn't even look it up, like, oh, what route are they on? It was like they just told you, oh, this is the way we're going, yada yada. And maybe in Albuquerque, you could stop and use a payphone. If you had a prepaid phone card, or a couple quarters in your pocket, you'd have to make those long distance calls. And you could call on to the next state and say, "Hey, we made it to Albuquerque, and as far as we know, we'll be there at this, this date and time." So, and he was like, "What? That's fucking wild that your parents did that." I said, "Yeah, I get it. It was weird." And I was telling a friend about it this morning, and she was like, "Yeah, that is weird." But also, back then we couldn't afford to fly. But it used to be pretty normal for people to put their kids on planes and send them off to other places, and then an adult would pick them up there. But even that, I was talking to somebody about that not too long ago. It's during the internet age, when they have phones, and so you can at least send a text, "Hey, we made it to the flight, we're taking off, whatever, we'll see you at this time." But back then, there wasn't anything like that. And I remember one time, for some reason, we took a kind of a different route. We were in Winslow, Arizona. Winslow, Arizona, like the song. Standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. And, God, this was so long ago. But there were like Border Patrol or, maybe they were local law enforcement. Anyway, they were looking for somebody. And they come on, and they pulled 2 guys off the bus at the stop there. And then they took these guys off, and then we continued going. And this guy sitting next to me, I had no idea who this guy was. And keep in mind, this was back when marijuana was illegal. You do a lot of time for marijuana, which is not what I'm smoking, by the way. This is pipe tobacco. And, see? Pipe tobacco. Anyway, he looks over at me. I don't know this guy from anybody. And he was like sweating. He's like, "Man, this is why I was so nervous." And he reaches under his seat and he pulls out this case, and it was like full of marijuana, right? And I remember being solicited in Albuquerque a few times. Hey, that guy, hey, when we get off, do you want to come around the corner and have a smoke here? No, I'm good. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you, type of thing. I almost got beat up by some gang members in the middle of the night in Albuquerque. We had to wait till the next morning to catch the next bus, and that was pretty early departure. But I remember that was middle of the night, man, and some gang members of some kind were there waiting as well, and these three guys were exchanging words. We exchanged some words, but we never got into it, thank God. But I had no idea. All I knew, I was in Albuquerque. That's all I knew. I didn't know a thing about how to get anywhere. I didn't know anybody in Albuquerque. And again, back then you couldn't text or call anybody. There were no cell phones then, just wild how different the world was. Taking the Greyhound bus in the 90s. God, that would have been early 90s too. Before internet, before communication, before texting. They just put you on the bus and hopefully you arrive there. And it was, at least to us, that was normal. We did that often. And it's a very treasured route for me from here down to, back home. I can leave here now and drive all the way to my grandmother's house without a map. I can get there by memory alone. My father and I have taken that pilgrimage back home many times, many times. My sister can do it. My other brother can do it. We can make it all the way to Grandma's house. She passed away. May her memory be eternal. But her and my grandfather passed away now. But back then, I mean, it's like, in fact, still, last time I took that road trip was over a year ago, and it was like so nice to go back down these old roads that I used to go on with my father and my parents, for that matter. Kind of a pilgrimage back home, go home to visit and stuff. Anyway, is that weird? Is that weird that as a little child, I got put on a Greyhound bus, and watching my little sister too, by the way, and we got sent down to Arizona by ourselves with zero communication with anybody, and we always seem to make it okay. What do you think? Is that interesting? Is that fun? Would you do that to your children now? I can say no, I would never do that to my child, but at the time is what we had. What are your thoughts?